Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Ep.2 of Three Men in a Podcast Show, where we discuss everything having to do with men's lifestyle. I'm your co-host, Luigi C. from the Agree to Disagree Show. To my right or left is Claudio.
Go ahead, Claudio.
We're starting off well. No, I'm Claudio Capra from the Dirty Four podcast and stand-up comedy, Dirty Four Open Mic and Offbeat Comedy. And here at the bottom is the awesome
Ange from the Ange TV Show, guys. Welcome.
Awesome, guys. How's everyone doing tonight? We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, guys. Send in your comments, we say every week. Send in your comments, your questions for our guest tonight. And tonight we decided to do, since we are a men's lifestyles podcast show, we decided to do a show, basically an education of cigars 101. This is what we're going to call it. And who better? I can't believe I got this guest tonight. I've been following him for so long, being a cigar aficionado, if I could call myself that. So, guys, please welcome the founder of Cigars Daily and the cigar aficionado, Tim Swanson. Here we go. Let's bring him on.
Hey, Kenny. All right. By the way, folks, before we continue, if you're all on Facebook, head on to YouTube. There's a red square called the subscribe button. Press the subscribe and a reminder. So every bi-weekly when we go live, you get to know that we're going live and support local hardworking podcasters and cigar connoisseurs like Tim Swanson.
I love it.
Yes.
Tim, first of all, from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of the guys, I want to say thank you so much for doing the show tonight.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. The privilege is mine here. This is great.
No, that's not true. I think the privilege is going to be ours. Listen, guys, why this is, I don't know if you guys know him. I consider Tim a real cigar aficionado. He has so much passion for the cigar industry, and he's the owner of Cigars Daily, which is a cigar lounge, and you could order online as well. I'm sure he'll tell us a lot about that. Based in Arizona. Where in Arizona, Tim?
We're in Phoenix, in North Central Phoenix, where I run the shop actually with my father-in-law.
Yes.
Is my 50% partner here, and we have a blast. They say never work with family, which is true for 9 out of 10 people. But that one extra person, you got to do it, man.
You hit the jackpot, right?
Hell yeah, absolutely.
So Tim, before we get started, because tonight we're going to do an education. See, Claudio and Ange are virgins, cigar virgins. Okay, so we're gonna educate them tonight, and we're gonna educate our viewers. Since, like I said, this is a men's lifestyle show. So I, being a few years and knowing about cigars, so I told them to prepare their questions for you. But before we go into that, tell us about your amazing story. How did you start? And I was telling the guys off air, you started on YouTube with another partner at the time. I don't recall his name.
Right.
Then you went on your own. So basically, tell us about your history. How did this come about? Where did this love from cigars come from, and this idea?
I started smoking cigars when I was 18 because there's not a lot you can do when you turn 18 anymore. Not these days. When you turn 18, they're like, hey, happy 18th birthday. Screw you. Wait till you're 21. But when I turned 18, you could buy tobacco, right? There was the two things you could do when you're 18. You could buy tobacco, you could buy pornography. And so I said, I'm going to go get some tobacco. And I wanted to get a premium cigar because to me, premium cigars they were a symbol of one thing. They were a symbol of graduating from being a child into being a man. Like smoking a cigar is always something I've seen men do, and honest to God, I know it's a guy's lifestyle thing. It's a part of the luxury lifestyle. One of the things the cigar industry has taught me is that it's not just a man's thing. Like there's a lot of women that smoke cigars.
True.
It's predominantly men though, right? Like it's mostly men, but there's a lot of lady smokers out there, but certainly a part of the luxury lifestyle that you can enjoy if you really want to take things to a higher notch. And so 18th birthday, got my first cigar, got sick to my stomach, turned completely green, didn't quite throw up, got close. But then I started trying to explore it, and the most part, I would smoke with my buddies when we played poker because that was my big. I love playing poker with the guys. I'm not any good at it. I would go pay my buy-in, and I essentially counted that as like when you buy a ticket to the movie. Like I put my buy-in in as like, all right, for the next 2 hours, I get to hang out and have fun.
Exactly.
And then you know, it was almost 6 years ago. I got a job at a cigar shop as a clerk because at the time I was a pastor, believe it or not. I was working at churches and doing a church plant that was failing miserably. And so I got a job at a boxing gym as a coach because I've been a boxer for a long time, and then at a cigar shop as a clerk. And you know, that was the thing. It was really weird because I had failing church and I knew boxing pretty well, and I just knew that I liked cigars. I didn't really have like cigars as like my trajectory. That wasn't where I wanted to head.
That's crazy.
But you know, when an opportunity came up for me to take a full-time position as an operations director for a chain of cigar shops, I took it. And when I jumped in, I had a blast, but they gave me this website. At the time it was called tntcigars.com, and they said, you need to make this thing profitable. And I said, okay. So I went back, I did a bunch of research on I had never done e-commerce before. I'd never done sales online before. So I did some research, and I came back again, and I went to the manager, and I was like, hey, we got two options. We can either advertise on pornography websites. It's weird that keeps coming up in my story. So we can advertise on pornography websites. They'll take our advertising money, or we can do this social media stuff. And I think I got a good idea for like a YouTube channel. And the GM was like, no, that's a stupid idea. I don't want to do that. And I was like, just give it a shot, man. And it was like at the end of the year, we did it for a few months. It was right at the end of 2017, I think. No, 2016. Right at the end of 2016, the channel blew up. We had our first videos. We were getting tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. We had the first cigar video, I think, on the channel that had over 1 million views. And then after about 2 years of that, it was apparent to me that it was a dead-end job. That's one thing. I mean, you guys have got your podcast here. Don't ever start social media for someone else.
No.
You don't own a damn thing, right?
Great advice.
We had a blast together. Like, so we got out of there, and then I was just going to quit and be done with cigars. I knew it was a dead-end job, and so I was going to bounce. And I told my wife, and she told her dad, and he got together with me, and he was like, hey, Tim, you think you could do all that internet cigar shit over again if you had to? And I was like, yeah, I think I probably could. And he was like, how about we be partners? And I was like, okay, that sounds great. Yes, that would be like a dream. My partner, Jim, he's been in business for 40 years as an entrepreneur. And he's got a like 4-0 record of starting, growing businesses and eventually selling for a profit. He's a rock star. So this is his passion business with me and his way of teaching me everything he knows about business. So that's like, for me personally, that's the other side of it. But then Cigars Daily, you know, TNT was great because it exploded unexpectedly. Yeah. Cigars Daily has been a completely different animal because I got to really, you know, when I was at TNT, I worked for somebody else. And so that made it really hard because then you're kind of like, you have to do what somebody else tells you, which if you work a job, you should. That's a good thing. Yeah. But it's not always, sometimes in the back of your head, you know that what they're telling you to do is not the best thing to do. So at Cigars Daily, I've really gotten to take it with my own stride, and it's hit a level that none of us expected. Our accountant came to us and he was like, holy shit, man. This is great. I didn't think that this was possible for what you guys are doing. Wow. So here we are.
So here's the thing, guys, okay? Two things that what Tim said that are great lessons, okay? Whether it be for men or anybody in life. The passion that Tim did his YouTube videos, and I've watched them all when he was doing them for TNT. Yeah. And the passion that he's doing them for himself, for his own business, you cannot tell the difference, guys. So what does that tell you? Always work in a company that and basically say that it's your own, because that's what Tim did. Yeah. That's number one. Absolutely. Number two, the other lesson here is notice how you never see Jim, his partner. You hardly ever see him in videos. How they each have their role, and each one knows their role. And this is the reason why Cigars Daily is so successful and has been so successful. So these are, Tim, I mean, two lessons right there. Awesome, just tremendous.
With Jim and I, it's a very special relationship because truly we both have a uniquely separate set of skills and talents. You know, if I could dumb it down to the simplest possible way and say that my job is to bring the money in, you know, with videos, and we run promotions. I do I do
Mhm.
250 promotions a year on our website.
Jesus.
And we do 5 videos a week, which is also about 250 videos a year.
Mhm.
So I'm doing a video and a promotion almost every day, but I do that stuff, and that's what really generates a lot of the revenue, a lot of the orders, a lot of the business side of it. But Jim makes sure that the money is there at the end of the day. He helps me with the broad stroke stuff. He's got vision that I don't have. Like last year at the beginning of the year, he was like, "Hey, we've got to buy a building. Like we got to move out of our current shop, and we've outgrown it." I was like, "Okay," and he's like, "We should buy a building," and I was like, "Well, what? This isn't even, we're in year 3. This is year 3. We're buying a building."
Crazy.
So we spent $1.3 million on the building that we just bought, and we're building it out right now. It's there today, laying rock.
I've been watching the video, and congratulations on that, by the way, Tim, because
Thank you.
I was there from day one. With you, with your little shop when you started Cigars Daily from TNT. So a huge congratulations. I couldn't be happy for you, and it
Thank
couldn't
you.
honestly happen to a nicer guy. So here's the thing. We decided that Ange and Claudio want to ask you some beginner questions. So
Do it.
I'm not gonna answer them. I'm gonna have the pro, because see what Tim does on his channel is he does all these videos, right?
Yeah.
So on beginners and so much content. And by the way, cigarsdaily.com and as well Cigars Daily on YouTube, and
Mhm.
we'll put that all in the show notes, guys. Don't worry about that. Or I think it's already there. So guys, what did you want to ask, so that we just educate our viewers tonight?
So, Tim, Mr. Swanson, the viewers here would like to know, because some people here have seen the movie Hellboy, and Hellboy has that quote when he's smoking a cigar. He goes, "You never ever use a lighter to light your cigar. You always use a match." Now, I would like to understand, Mr. Swanson, did Ron Perlman know what he was talking about while he was smoking a cigar with Jeffrey Tambor in the movie Hellboy, directed by Guillermo del Toro?
That's a great question.
That's a great question. That's a really great question. Well, first of all, Ron Perlman, huge cigar smoker. Okay.
Yes.
That's true.
So he's one of the guys. Like if you've smoked cigars, you know Ron Perlman's one of the dudes that smokes cigars. But at the same time, no, that's ridiculous. No,
I
that's
told you.
outrageous.
Hold on.
Here's the thing with cigars.
I want to write this down. So
Write it down.
when we
Take
have
some
Ron
notes. Take some
Perlman.
notes.
So that's wrong. Ron Perlman
Mhm.
is wrong with exclamation marks. All right, continue. Carry on, please.
Yeah, outrageous. If you message him, tell him I said outrageous. Here's the thing. Here's the thing with cigar etiquette. Okay, what you're talking about is cigar etiquette. It's the proper way of doing things, right?
Yeah.
What is the right way to do it? And that's that bullshit. Is the idea that there's a right and a wrong way to do a lot of this stuff. There are areas in cigars, okay,
Mhm.
where there's a right and a wrong way to do it. Okay,
Yeah.
if you puff on a cigar too much and too fast, you'll heat up the tobacco, and that will
Okay.
destroy the flavor. So there's a right and wrong way to do it. You want to do long, slow draws. When it comes to lighting your cigar, light it how you want to. And
Okay.
truly, if you're going to use a match, I know some guys are religious about matches. Great, use a match every single time. If you tell another person that he's an idiot for not using a match, then you might be kind of a douchebag. But if a guy wants to use like a Bic lighter, he wants to use a Zippo, he wants to use a torch lighter, he wants to light it off the stove in his apartment, like that's crackheads. That's all they got, right? So they can still be classy, I think. Yeah.
That's a great start. That's a great start off.
Actually-
Sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead,
So my question, Tim, is
And
is there a particular cigar for beginners that you have to start with, or you could just go with whenever you want, Cuban, whatever you can find, like?
so yes, and no. I mean, yes. There's not like a specific, like I would say, this is the beginner cigar. There's some that I'd recommend, but
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a really quick and easy way to understand, I think, cigars from a
Okay.
beginner's perspective. Are you guys beer drinkers?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got several beers here that I fully intend to drink during our time together.
Okay, cool.
So the last few minutes of the show should be the best. But
Yeah.
so beer, you guys know this. We're in a really cool time to be drinking beer, but beers come in every shade, right? They come in absolutely every shade. This is a Corona. It's a lager. It's a very light colored beer, right? You can see right through it.
I love Corona.
Like, if
Corona's
I
good
emptied
in the
this out
summer.
and peed in it, I could probably convince somebody to drink it if I didn't. Very, very
True.
light. And beer goes in darker shades as you get into pale ales, you get into brown ales, and then you can work your way all the way over to the stouts, the really, really dark rich. So there's every shade of color in there. And definitely typically when you jump into a lager or a pale ale, they're a little bit lighter typically. And then pale or IPAs are kind of a shot in the dark. You never really know what you're going to get with those. But in a general sense, your lagers are very light and your stouts are very rich and dark and full, right? And you can think about cigars the same way. There are very light shade cigars. They're actually called Connecticut shade cigars because the wrapper leaf on the outside is grown in the shade. They actually put cheesecloth over the crops and they keep the sun from getting directly to it. It makes it very light leaf. For a beginner, that's what I'd be recommending. And there is as many different styles of beer as there are, there's that many different wrapper leaves of a cigar. And a wrapper leaf really separates the cigars from each other too. But as a beginner, I would typically recommend a mild Connecticut shade cigar.
Mild Connecticut. Okay, thanks, Tim.
Thank you. Awesome.
Tim, with what's going on in the world today, and we wanted to get your take on, we talk a lot about men's mental health or just mental health in general. And I was telling the guys off air that, I'm having a little bit of, here in Quebec, in Canada, we have a lockdown, we have a curfew, so we have to be out from 8 o'clock. So I can't go have a cigar like I do once or twice a week with my buddies at a cigar lounge. So I'm finding it particularly hard for me because I was telling them how much it helps me to unwind, spend some time with friends, have great conversation, and not think about the stresses in life. So, what does a cigar do for you? What could possibly be the benefits? And we're not really going to talk about the negative aspect, but we might delve into it. But let's talk about the positive aspects of cigars and what they could do for you.
So, other than pay my bills, other than that, truly, I did a video on the Cigars Daily YouTube channel. And thanks for mentioning that, by the way.
Yeah.
With a buddy of mine who's he's his doctorate in psychology, and it talked about the health benefits of cigars, and I forget what the title was because I couldn't say the health benefits of cigars, otherwise YouTube would just dick stomp me, right? They go straight into the ground. So I forget what it's called. It's called oh man, I wish I remember the title. It was 3 years ago, but it's on my channel. If you search cigars and health, you almost definitely find it. It's me with a guy with glasses on.
Yes, I saw it.
About the positive psychological benefits of smoking a cigar. I've thought a lot about this since then. When you smoke a cigar, it's about more than just puff and smoke. Truly, I talked a little bit earlier about how we're in the really exciting era of beer, right? There's craft beers everywhere, and all that stuff is really, really good. And we're truly in the same era with cigars. And in cigars, we call it boutique. Okay. There is like 10,000 little tiny boutique cigar makers out there who do short runs. In fact, I'm smoking one right now.
Yeah. What are you smoking?
Obrigado. This is an Obrigado. This cigar is made by my business partner, Jim, and I. We also own a boutique brand of cigars.
Okay.
Well, I was going to ask you about American Viking. Yes.
American Viking cigars, and Obrigado is one of them. This is a Nicaraguan cigar. Every part of it comes from Nicaragua. It has a dark Habano wrapper on the outside and really rich flavors. And there's this huge variety of flavors you can get in a cigar. A Connecticut shade would be very mild and smooth, and a Maduro would be really rich and it'll have flavor notes like chocolate and leather, and like some of the other really dark flavor notes are coffee and like roasted almonds. When you sit and just focus on that flavor, it does something for your mind. It releases your mind from a lot of the constraints or the confines that you're in through the day, the worries that you have, stuff like that. Just focusing on the flavor frees your mind and gives your mind a physical relaxation that's really, really critical. And so I think that, aside from what you mentioned, Luigi, you get together with other people, you kick back and relax. I do think there is a psychologically healthy thing about smoking cigars and doing that and not much else that is available.
um, Claudio, you think you had a question in regards to the whole thing about misunderstanding? Because I mean, I came across a statistic that only 2% of North American cigar smokers are women. Does that make
Mhm.
sense, Ted?
Tim.
Sorry, Tim. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
two.
I don't know if I'd say 2%. I can tell you my analytics. My
Yeah,
audience online, I think we have 112,000 subscribers, is
113, 113.
Yeah.
113. Oh, yeah. Okay. My audience is, I think it's 3% women, and that's
Okay.
up. So
Okay.
that's up
Wow.
from the past. So I think 2% is probably pretty fair. But these days, more than ever, you're seeing cigars become a date night thing for people.
Yes.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, that's
I
true.
do a weekly live show called Cigars Daily Live on Sunday nights.
Okay.
And I'm surprised at how often I see comments from people that are like, hey, just jumped on. My wife and I are smoking cigars tonight and watching the show. And so for them, cigars is like date night, which is really, special.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's true because you bring that up, because I remember before we went through this bullshit lockdown, like there was like a beautiful couple, and I believe the woman was smoking a very strong cigar, but the husband or the boyfriend or whoever he was, like he was trying to show off, but he was coughing. He's like, this is strong. And the girl just kept smoking, and she had like, I think it was like her third or fourth Corona. But I was looking at that couple, and I'm like, that guy's definitely whipped. That So, but no, but you're right. Like cigar is a thing, and if I could actually say my 2 cents about this, like cigar is a thing, because cigar, it helps us mentally, right? And for me, whenever I smoke a cigar, like I like to think, hey, listen, it's calming me down. Well, I'm feeling a bit nauseous because I wouldn't know what's a beginner or not, but I got nauseous because I didn't smoke the beginner cigar. But there's that feeling of, hey, this is great. I enjoy cigar over cigarettes, and and it just, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it makes it look really cool. So
It does, but
yeah.
but I think that the benefits really outweigh everything else. And
Yeah.
and one of the things that we asked, and Claudio and Ange asked me too, is how do you deal. What you did an episode on your channel, Tim, was about how do you deal with the objections from your spouse, which or I remember that one, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. This was a while back too. So I think this one's an important question. How do you if you have that spouse that will
Yeah, for sure. So when you say spouse, that's a big deal, because
yes,
when you're a spouse, you're locked in, right?
Yeah.
Like, and there's, it depends. There's different degrees of this, right?
Mhm.
Some girls are just like I'm going to say wives, because if the day that I meet the woman who's like, my husband doesn't like that I smoke cigars, I just slap him in the face and be like, get the hell out. Like, it's just silly. So I would say that for most guys whose wives don't like that they smoke cigars, there's degrees of that. Some wives are like, I don't really like it, but go ahead and do it, because we're married and I respect that you have your, you do your stuff. I'm going to do mine. I'm going to spend all your money on shoes and all this kind of stuff, or whatever they want to spend money on. So if you're at that point, you're pretty good. She doesn't like it. She's got objections. Then it steps up from there. Some girls were like, I really don't like the health drawbacks of cigars. Okay, so that's one of the big objections. And if that's the case, and it's like, hey, I don't like that you smoke cigars because of the health downside, you've got to understand what that is, because the health drawbacks of cigars are very different than the health drawbacks of cigarettes. And I have whole videos on this.
yes,
But with cigarettes, you inhale smoke directly into your lungs, and with cigars, you don't. You taste the smoke and you breathe it out. Now you're putting smoke in your mouth. So is there risk involved? Yes, absolutely. But the big question is, how much risk is involved? And that's the thing that we actually still currently don't fully understand, because very recently the FDA tried to pass some new regulations on cigars. They got shut down because they did not have a way to explain what the health risks of cigars are, or what they hope to accomplish with their regulations, because they didn't understand fully the risks in the first place. And so Understanding the risks is a big deal, and then you can liken it to other things. If your wife is looking at you saying you're gonna smoke it, that smoking is gonna kill you. It's gonna say, well, is it gonna kill me before eating red meat, or using a cell phone, or driving a car,
Exactly.
or any number of the other things out there that are definitely going to give all of us cancer someday, right?
Yeah.
But then there's the really high level of that resistance from a wife, where a wife is just like, I just can't, and I can't take the smell. And I know guys who go to great lengths for that. I know guys who, when they get home, they get out of their car and they take all their clothes off in the garage before they go into the house, because it's that important to them. And if that's where you're at, I mean, I sell cigars and I love doing that. I love cigars and I love selling cigars. But sometimes you got to pick your wife over your hobby. So if it's just a no-go, if it's just I can't do that, like sometimes you can be okay. I have a very good friend who had to do that. He loves cigars. He had one once in a while. He would come home and he had to take 2 showers before he could get into bed with his wife. And he just stopped. Yeah. And I said, you know what, buddy? You probably did the best thing. But for 9 out of 10 guys, like you can talk your way through some of the health stuff that comes with it. You can take your clothes off in the garage, or take a shower, or change your shirt before you get home, and really go a long way. Or smoke cigars when you're hunting or camping or out playing golf or something like that.
So just before, actually, I'll get to that, to the comment after, but I just wanted to say, wanted to add that one thing that also that they came up with, and they Ange and Claudia wanted to ask was, another objection for women is the cost, right, Tim?
Yeah.
But I think a great answer to that, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you don't have to be expensive, guys. Because you asked me, like, how expensive are your cigars?
Yeah.
So there's right, Tim. There's from beginners. There's such a range.
If the objection from the wife comes up on the cost of your cigars, and you already haven't given your wife some disposable income to spend on her own stuff, first of all, you might just be a dick. And second of all, if you have, then you can really point at the things that she really loves and say, well, you have these things and I have this thing. And just to your point, Luigi, cigars, this is one of the things I love about cigars. It's part of the luxury lifestyle that's available to every age qualified person. If you're 21 or older and you want to live in the lap of luxury and enjoy a nice premium cigar, you can do that for as little as $2. And I'm not talking about gas station crap.
Yeah.
I'm talking about premium cigars, stuff like this right here that you'd find in an actual cigar shop. The price of cigars starts around $2. And I mean, that's the absolute bottom of the barrel. And it goes all the way up to, there are cigars that are $1,500 a stick and everywhere in between. But really, for the most part, your cigars are going to be between $4 and $12 a stick. And you can spend as much or as little as you want.
Okay,
true.
Something I wanted to ask Tim is, do people collect cigars? And if they do, like, what makes them more valuable and rare?
Let me answer that. Can I get to Captain YOLO?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
I like getting comments a lot. Does Tim sell them and can ship them to Canada? Yes or no? So when it comes to Canada, yes, we absolutely sell to Canada. You can go online right now onto cigarsdaily.com. You can put stuff in the cart, go to the cart and check out, put in your address in Canada, and we'll ship them straight to you. But, and this is a big, giant, fat but,
yes,
we are sending you tobacco over an international border. Your government hates that, especially in Canada. We have to label them as tobacco when they come into the country, and they're going to charge you taxes and duties, and that stuff is expensive. You want to understand taxes and duties in your country before you send an international order, because if the order gets to the border and they send you a bill for $300 for taxes on your $400 box of cigars and you send them back, like there'll be a restocking fee on that for one thing. But on the other side of it, you lose out on the whole experience of it. And so make sure you understand what comes with that.
So Tim, if I could add something to that, Captain YOLO, I've ordered from Cigars Daily, some other websites in the States as well. And luckily through my cigar group, and apparently the Canadian government customs, because they have so much coming in, Tim, they'll do spot checks, and they only check about 10% of packages. So so for example, I'll give you my last 10 orders globally from US websites, including yours. I've paid customs on 3 of those orders.
Wow. Wow, really?
Yes.
And how much
Now-
were those customs?
That's the thing, Ange. It's just it's so random, Tim. I don't know,
is.
man.
So some
Jesus.
countries do their taxes and duties by the weight of the order.
Yeah.
And cigars are light. I mean, a cigar weighs an ounce. It's rolled up leaves. That's all it is. It's rolled up tobacco leaves. So
Yeah.
some of them do them by weight. Some of them do them by quantity. And some of them do them by invoice total.
Mhm.
So some of them will look at your total invoice and say, you paid $200 for cigars, so we're going to tax you this much. Others say your order weighs 6 ounces of tobacco. We're going to tax you for this much.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, it could. That's why I'm honestly waiting to go to Florida and have them shipped from Cigars Daily to Arizona to Florida, just to avoid that.
Mhm.
So, what was the other question, Ange, that Ange had asked
About
as well?
collecting.
Yeah, do
Yes,
people
yes.
collect cigars, and what makes them more valuable and rare?
Yeah, because Tim,
Yeah.
if you see in my screen, right to my underneath the clock, that's my. You see my humidor.
Yeah.
So he was asking about it. So it's a great question, actually.
Yeah.
So yes, people collect cigars. Absolutely.
Mhm.
The thing that makes cigars special, it's interesting because with cigars, the price doesn't always identify the quality or the value.
Really?
There are some cigars that cost $20 that are not worth $20.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And there are
Okay.
some cigars that cost $6 that I would gladly pay $12 for. So it's not straight across the board, but there are things that make a cigar more valuable or less valuable. And one of those things is the age of the tobacco.
Really?
So one of my favorite cigars out there is from a maker called Plasencia. The Plasencia family is in Nicaragua and Honduras. They've been making cigars for 150 years. They have a cigar called the Alma Fuerte that's got
Mhm.
tobacco that's been aged for 10 years in it.
Wow.
And
Guys,
that's a-
fifth generation family. 5.
Fifth generation, 5 generations of cigar makers in one family. And they're amazing people, by the way.
Okay.
But their 10-year age cigar is a $20 stick. It's a high value stick because there's a lot that goes into
Okay.
making that. Sometimes you have cigars that are infused with special things. People try to use an infusion, like there's a cigar that's infused with Louis the 13th. And so if that's like,
Okay.
if you're big on that kind of stuff, then that might be really valuable to you.
Wow.
For me personally, I collect cigars, but my cigar collection is right on the other side of this wall behind me. It's all cigars that are sentimental to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
If I sit down and I smoke a cigar with a really good friend, and we have an amazing conversation about something really incredible, I'll buy more of that cigar and keep it.
Yeah.
I have a lot of cigars that I've made in the past, like American Viking stuff, or cigars
Mhm.
that I did back in the TNT days that I keep in there that are just memories of good times.
Yeah.
There's lots of
Nice.
reasons and ways to collect.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
So to further to Ange's question, what's your view? And I have this debate or this discussion with my cigar buddies and group, is the difference between smoking a cigar right away or aging it yourself. Let's say, for example, if the cigar is not already aged, Tim. So let me, some of my guys won't even touch a cigar if it's in their, unless it's in their humidor for 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah. Aging is an interesting topic because there is a very broad number of opinions about this. And I've met guys like that. They're like, if it doesn't age 2 years, I won't even touch it.
Mhm.
And if you talk to cigar makers, I mean, it's the equivalent of getting a steak in a Texas steakhouse and saying, I won't even eat this if I can't put A1 steak sauce on it. And the chef would come out and smack you in the mouth. And it'd be rightfully so, because that chef in that steakhouse, his job is to make that steak perfect when it lands on your plate.
Yeah.
And it's the same with cigars. The
Mhm.
cigar maker's job is to land a cigar in your hand, ready to smoke at the cash register.
Because
And
it's
if
already
not
been
ready to
aged.
Yeah.
there's aging that happens. So for American Viking, there's not a leaf in this cigar that hasn't been aged for 3 years before it was rolled.
Mhm.
Wow.
So it
That's
gets
yeah.
plucked off the plant in the field, hung in a barn where it's cured. It gets put in a big pylon where it ferments and
Okay.
gains its smoothness. And then they age it for 3 years after they do all of the natural processing. So
Okay.
that's just American Viking. There's others that do it. Perdomo cigars. They
Mhm.
age all of the wrapper leaves on their cigars for 5 years before they roll.
Yep.
And so I think with most reputable cigar brands, there'd be no reason to ever say, I need to age this for 2 or 3 years before I'm even going to touch it. I mean, if a guy's got a really sensitive palate and it's the only way he can enjoy it, then I'd say more power to him. I think guys are who do that may very well just sort of be caught up in their own, minutia. But I would say that most cigars are designed to be ready to be smoked when you get them. The only thing you got to watch out for is humidity. If you order cigars online and they ship, you want to make sure they reach the right humidity in your humidor, and that can take up to a few weeks. But
further to, I just wanted to add something, is because you mentioned it, guys. I'm not sure if you don't know. Tim mentioned it before, but Tim has his own line, which is called American Viking, which is made for Cigars Daily and for them by the famous cigar house Rocky Patel. Right, Tim?
It used to be. It's not anymore.
It's not anymore.
We ditched that one. Yeah.
Do tell.
We were working with Rocky Patel for a while. In fact, when we first started making cigars, we were working 4 different factories.
Okay.
And we had really bad experiences with 3 of them. And cigar making families are great, but occasionally, you're working across international borders, often in multiple languages, and it's easy to get the lines crossed. And so we had a few really bad experiences. We were really looking for, and we found the dream factory for us. We consolidated everything to one factory. So we pulled the Filthy Viking from Rocky Patel, all the other factories. We brought everything under one roof, and that was when we started getting 3 years aged tobacco. Was when we moved to the factory we're working with now.
So who's producing it now? If you don't, can you say, or?
Yeah, I can say it. My partner said it on a video, so
okay.
It's the Placencia family. The 5-generation family, and I mean, you won't find better people on the planet. You just won't.
I watched your video where you went to Nicaragua to visit the plant, and I honestly fell in love with the gentleman. I forgot his first name. Nestor. Guys, honestly, if you ever have a chance, watch documentaries. First of all, watch this one on Cigars Daily. Watch documentaries about the cigar process, the history of cigars, the making of cigars, the fermentation, everything, the work that goes into making that cigar that Tim is making. Probably 300 hands have touched it, right, Tim?
300 sets of hands it takes to make just one cigar. And you can still buy them for $2, $6, $8. It's amazing. But you're absolutely right. Yeah. The series is called How Cigars Are Made, and it's on the Cigars Daily YouTube channel. You can also find it on our new spot. You guys know this. You guys are studying what it means to be a man and the lifestyle of a man here. Social media has not been super friendly to what makes a man anymore.
No.
And it's gotten rough out there. And if anything you want to do, whether you like guns, whether you like beer, whether you like cigars, whether you just like to be a dude, it's almost a crime these days. So we built a brand new website called cigarsdailyplus.com. We created a server with all of our own content where we can forever continue posting videos and sharing our passion for cigars without being censored.
So it's funny that you say that, because I find a lot more people are doing that. Even friends of ours. I don't know if you know this, guys. Jofo Podcast. They're just planning. They already have it up and running, their own website where they could continue running their content if one day YouTube shuts them down.
Well, exactly. I mean, say whatever you want about YouTube, but it is not only YouTube but the rest of social media, and there's this thing called the watchdogs of whatever you're doing, especially
I know.
Especially in stand-up comedy, right? Because I do a lot of stand-up comedy, and Mr. Swanson, let me tell you something. There's a Canadian comedian here who had to take, because he said a joke about someone, and now he that family of the guy who the stand-up comedian made fun of brought him to the Supreme Court, and now
the Supreme Court of Quebec, Tim. Imagine.
Yeah, and this comedian, his name is Mike Ward, and he's basically being charged for making a joke about to a kid. And the family did not like it. So it comes to show you what you were saying, social media has not been friendly. And again, we all have to be careful about what we say, what we do. Obviously, I may sound like that cliche guy saying you could do whatever you want, but then there's consequences, which I'm gonna say that, but at the same time, we all gotta be careful, and it's really scary. You know, it's really scary because if we're gonna encounter someone who doesn't like what you do, you could be easily canceled just like this. And you know, talking about Mike Ward and what Gina Carano happened to her on the Mandalorian, it's just sad and scary. But then, you know, there's hardworking guys like you, Tim, or like us. Like, we're trying to make it out there. But if someone hates us, someone doesn't like us, it puts more stress on us. And
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, I was just saying, you know, and then time will come where, you know, everything we work for is going to go down the drain because of these people.
See, but here's the irony of this, guys, because like I said, I think, and I'm so glad that I got to meet Tim, and I swear, Tim, I'm going to visit you in Arizona one day.
Oh yeah.
But
tell them when you're coming, so
he's going to prepare the cigars for me. But the irony of this is that you're trying to censor. Let's say, I'm just saying that even someone like Tim, that is honestly one of the nicest guys I've seen on the internet. I truly believe this, and I truly mean it. Like, you cannot get. He's an ex-pastor for the love of Jesus Christ. Okay, guys. Okay, come on. Let me say it here.
Yeah.
But yet, this is the world where we're living in. You know. But I think it just, you know, I think it is, you know, we're going to probably do an episode about toxic masculinity, but you know what? I think this is enforces even more what we need to do and the pleasures in life. And what are we doing, honestly? Are we hurting anybody, Tim?
Right.
Come on.
No. Yeah. And in America, I mean, the big push in Canada, anywhere you go, I can talk about tobacco because I can speak intelligibly about it. When they talk about censoring this or regulating it or an issue with it, the message is always the same. Well, it's for the children. We need to make sure that this doesn't end up in the hands of the children. But when you make it so expensive that a regular person, an age qualified adult, can't afford it, that's not for the children.
Yeah.
Like, that's something else. There's something else there. There's something else behind all of this stuff you're talking about. There's something else behind it. It's just it's total madness. But when we started building our new website, we got a YouTube channel strike on our thing, and it was just a link we put to not a cigar website, not a cigar accessory website, a company that makes humidification packs for food storage, musical instrument storage, and cigar storage, and they do some cannabis products. And YouTube's like, what? And they shut our channel down for a week. And we realized that as long as somebody else has their finger on the light switch about whether or not we're allowed to create content or not, that's a problem. And people were telling me, hey, go over to Rumble or go over and put your stuff on Parler or go. And people gave me 50 billion websites. And I'm like, what stops Google from buying that and making
exactly?
It
that's the problem.
Right? So,
or even TikTok.
We wouldn't rest till we had the power to do it. That's what Cigars Daily Plus is.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up, Tim. This whole legislation, okay, because it's not just you guys. And I watched that amazing documentary that Arturo Fuente was on. I think Rocky Patel was on as well. Do you remember the name of this documentary?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'll be back. I just gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Go ahead.
No problem, Claudio.
So it's, I don't know if you know this, Tim. First of all, well, in the States, guys, just to put you into context, there is legislation, and the cigars, led by Rocky Patel and some other big names, Arturo Fuente as well, I believe, are fighting against these to not consider premium cigars the same way as tobacco, because it shouldn't be. First of all, these are naturally hand rolled. There's no chemicals in these cigars. Number one. Number two, children of 15, 14, 13 years old are not smoking cigars, guys. Okay.
Smoking cigarillos. Yeah,
there you go. So,
can I speak into that really
yeah,
quickly?
absolutely.
Go ahead.
So I'll give you an outline on this, and some of this stuff is stuff you'd hear from Rocky too. Premium cigars, they're 0.01% of tobacco sold in America every single year. And it's an entire industry that supports economies in 3 Latin American countries: Nicaragua, the Dominican Republic, and Honduras. Yeah. At the same time, the FDA did try to regulate us the same way as cigarettes. Which is outrageous. It would have physically crushed our industry. Who C. Brooks is smoking a Perdomo 10th anniversary in remembrance of Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh, man. Salt of the earth, a good guy.
Big smoker.
Really?
Big cigar guy. Let's not get
He's
into
a big
that. Let's
cigar
not get
guy.
into that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
when it comes to premium cigars and the regulation of them, we've had several massive wins in court in the United States. I never thought I would see this. When I got into the cigar industry, I thought that it was just going to be a long, slow, painful death.
Mhm.
But they tried to do the large warning labels. I think you guys had them in Canada before they went to plain packaging, which is even worse.
We
As an
have that.
American, the free speech stuff is just like, like I'm so offended by it.
Tim,
But,
it's disgusting, Tim. It's
oh my
disgusting.
gosh, it's a whole other episode, I think. But
Yeah.
when it comes to they tried to do the big warning labels, and the courts, an appeals court, shut them down unanimously and said you can't do that to these products. You didn't follow the right procedures. They're not warranted. And then they tried to put premium cigars through a pre-market approval process, and this is the big thing.
Wow.
You guys hear about this a lot when you watch the news, and they talk about prescription drugs.
Yeah.
You know, such and such a drug is going to pass pre-market approval, and then it's going to be on the market and available. So that's what a lot of these organizations, they have to go through a process to get it a product to market. So if you're making a prescription drug, they've got to know what all are the ingredients in that, how do they interact together, what are the side effects. But when it's just tobacco, our regulatory agencies are like, oh, we know what that is and we hate it. We hate you. Now go to hell. And no, right? And so we actually had a court just say, a United States court said, no, the Food and Drug Administration cannot subject premium cigars to a pre-market approval process right now because they have not done a good job of outlining any kind of realistic process that is doable. And so we've got for at least the time being an exemption from that until and it'll take the FDA years to get their stuff together. But we've had big wins in that realm. But at the same time, these regulatory industries, they come after this stuff like tobacco products, and they lump everything in with cigarettes. It's all the same as cigarettes, and it's not.
It's not.
We've seen it.
And Tim, I wanted to say, in the United States, you stand your ground. When we try to change something, it's like you guys say, "Whoa, you're not going to do that." In Canada, we let them step over us. I don't understand.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what you're saying is, well, no, I completely, I agree with Ange. Like, what are you guys doing here? It's like, okay, all right, we're gonna do it. No questions asked. Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to take our guns right now. That is
exactly. Like,
that's not gonna finish well.
Really?
That's a no-no for Americans. We're not gonna do that.
It's not gonna happen. No, because but that's the problem, guys. Look here, guys. I don't know if you know. So luckily, I order my cigars, and I refuse to smoke a cigar because for me, part of the process of and the beauty of a cigar is the wrapping, is the presentation of the boxes. Tim, you talked about it in the Placencia video. The beautiful boxes, guys. You have to see. I mean, look at this, okay? Okay, guys, just this is a My Father Le Bijou 1922. Just look at the label. Look how gorgeous.
Nice.
The artistry is just beautiful. So luckily I get my cigars. I'm not going to tell you where. It doesn't really matter because I refuse to buy plain packaging for my Cuban cigars, that is. Plain packaging cigars. So I get my Cuban cigars elsewhere. It doesn't matter where I get them from.
Luigi, let me ask you something. That plain packaging,
yes.
Do they have the regular bands underneath the plain band?
No, Tim.
Okay. Somebody made it sound like they did. And I was like, well, that's not so bad, but they don't. It's just no artwork, no nothing on it, just a plain diarrhea green.
Diarrhea brown with white writing. It's disgusting, Tim. Literally, I look at it and I'm like, I would never smoke this. I've seen. No, I won't, guys. I'm telling you.
No, because I remember the reason why I'm laughing is because I remember because when I would first start smoking cigars, I'm like, I want to be cool, and then I actually went with my boss with my current job. He goes, here, you want a cigar? I got us great cigars. He pulls that out, and I'm like, I want to puke. But then and talking about the stench of your clothes, because we went because I had a winter jacket on. Because it was really cold, going in, and then we were smoking, and then all the scent went on my jacket. I swear to God, I went because my boss drove me back home. We stank up his car. The next day at work, in my locker, like my jacket caused a stench in the locker room. I walked in, I'm like, the the fuck is that smell? I go and I open it. And I'm like, motherfucker. And then my boss is like, Claudio, I don't feel so good. I'm like, what's wrong? Goes, I had 2 cigars. Here, Claudio, take these 2. And then the idiot that I was, I took them and I smoked them on my birthday. I was like, it was 3 years ago. So then I was like 28. And I'm like, and I'm outside. After every puff, I'm like,
See, Claudio, when you're a smoker, seasoned smoker like I am, you prepare all these things. I have my smoking jacket for winter, and my other jackets for other stuff. So when I come home from smoking, I literally go downstairs, I hang it in my furnace room, air it out, and that's it. Change my clothes, go take a shower, and go to bed.
that's good.
My wife,
That's good.
my wife
That's
can't say a word. Listen, guys, I know that Tim is tight for time. I wanted to just this last thing I wanted to ask you. I promise you, and I want to keep us in the time frame. Is what are your favorite cigars you consider up and coming cigars? Your favorites? Maybe I'll share a few with you as well. Yeah,
Kick it off. Kick it off. Start with some of yours. I'll give you mine. I've got them in my head.
All right. So I love Perdomos. My father. I think anything from my father is just absolutely amazing. What else? I mean, are we talking about non-Cubans?
Could be Cubans or non-Cubans.
Okay.
Your audience is going to know Cubans first because they're seeing at a cigar shop.
True. Yeah. Any of the open series with Monte Cristos, Open Master, Open Eagle. Love the Oliva. You'll know the Oliva, right? The Millennial, which was Cigar of the Year in 2016. Love the Oliva. The Oliva, I think they make everything they make is completely amazing. I'm sure I'm forgetting some. Romeo and Julietta's, the White Churchills. Those are some of my favorites.
Yeah.
How about you, Tim? I know
our access to cigars here is a lot different than yours in Canada.
Yes.
And
yeah.
I think one of the great services in the cigar world is that Cuba has really lit up with a lot of the boutique stuff that's going on. They're really providing a lot more value for international cigar smokers with a lot of different boutique-y, specialized type blends. And I like that.
Yeah.
In America, you know, a lot of the big stuff is the big cigar making families. The Plasencias are one. They've been doing it 150 years.
Incredible.
They've got there are two diseases that kill tobacco crops. One's called blue mold. The other one's called black shank. They brought in geneticists to crossbreed tobacco seeds to make them immune to those diseases. And they so they're amazing, and their cigars are spectacular. There's a dude down in Nicaragua. His name is AJ Fernandez. His factories make 130,000 cigars a day, and he's got more than one factory. So he's a rock star. His cigars are very good, and there's almost nobody he doesn't make cigars for. He makes cigars for a lot of different people. Yeah. And then there's a few other families, like the Cuevas family in the Dominican Republic. Their brand is called Casa Cuevas. They do really great stuff. But there's a lot of boutique brands that I've really, really liked lately. Southern Draw Cigars. They're in the South in the United States. The owner is an evangelical Christian, just good old Southern boy. And he's got a long ponytail, and he's one guy that just doesn't give a shit. He'll say whatever is in his head.
I love it.
He's a great dude. And somehow he blends cigars spectacular. I almost have it in my mind that you've got to be Latin American to blend cigars well, because there's so many people do it. But this dude is white, and he does a great job, right? So he's a great blender. Southern Draw does well. There's a brand here in the United States called Drew Estate Cigars. They're one of the largest brands on the planet. They're outstanding. They make a lot of good cigars. But back in the day, there was a guy that worked with Drew Estate. His name was Steve Saka. He started his own brand called Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. And dude, if you want cigars that will knock your socks into next year, his cigars will do that every single time. They're outstandingly good.
I have to order some. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one honorable mention we can't out of Florida, Miami, I believe, is of course the Padron family.
Padron, yeah, they're the original Nicaraguan family.
They're in a I think in a level in a class of their own. I think.
I don't ever mention Padron, and I think that it's like being in the cigar world. Padron is just assumed. Like if you're talking about the best cigars in the world, Padron is just assumed. It'd be like, what are your favorite like luxury cars? Well, most people don't say Mercedes-Benz and BMW and stuff like that, and because they're just assumed. They just are, like, your Maseratis and stuff like that. It's just assumed those are your really nice luxury cars. Yeah. And so,
So
but
Tim,
those are some of my brands.
Awesome. Tim, I know you have to go. So I want to thank you so much for doing this with us. I truly appreciate it. It's been really a great time and an honor to have you on as a big cigar guy for me. And I think we educated our crowd and our rookies here as well. Guys, you want to say a few words, guys?
Honestly, Tim, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing your experience with, how you deal with, your stress and, how you deal with it by, smoking cigars, and for proving that Ron Perlman, didn't smoke a cigar right in Hellboy. So that was a big plus. But apart from that, thank you, Tim. And you know what? Keep rocking, man. Keep doing you like your videos are amazing.
Thank you.
And never stop.
Thank you.
I wanted to say the same thing as Claudio, Tim, and also I'm going to be watching your YouTube videos. Trust me, guys. Guys, Cigar Dailies. Cigars
Daily, folks. Like, share, and subscribe to them.
Right.
Yes.
And folks, many more great things to come from Mr. Tim Swanson over here.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. This has been a treat for me. I never get to just have a cigar and drink while I'm at home, so it's a treat. Thanks,
Nice.
Captain YOLO, everybody who's watching, who asked questions. Luigi, Claudio, Ange, you guys are awesome. Thank you. This has been a blast for me. So thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Tim.
No
We'll
problem.
talk soon. All right.
All right, guys.
Thank you so much. Take care. Peace.
Take care, buddy.
Bye, Tim.
Wow, that was great. That was so
Gentlemen, yeah.
Yes,
Honestly, that was great. That was oh man. But as I mentioned, like what he said about like Ron Perlman being wrong, that'd be my day.
Yeah.
That made my day. So ladies and gentlemen, that was Tim Swanson. He has his YouTube page, Cigar Dailies. Just follow him there, and his videos are just astonishing. So now before we end the show, since the first episode, which because we do this bi-weekly, a lot of people have been messaging messaging me, Louis, and Ange, and been saying thank you for sharing your mental illness. Thank you for sharing what you're all been going through. And I keep saying this all the time. Folks, obviously we're going through a tough time. Especially with with Luigi's best friend Francois Legault mentioned, which I want to get to in a minute because I have a little rant that I want to do. But folks, listen. I've been talking to a friend last night. I haven't spoken to him on almost a year. I was a bit mad at him because I'm like, dude, why have you been avoiding everybody? And then he was saying it's because he's going through a mental emotion. And I told him, and like I tell everyone, here, there's no shame in hiding your mental illness. There's no shame in saying I'm depressed, I need help. There's no shame in saying that. The only people who say whatever are the people who really do not give a crap about you. So I really mean it when I say I'm here for you guys, and we all are. That's why we're making this podcast, so people in the comments, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, just get on here and just tell us what you're feeling. Tell us what you're going through, and we'll do our best because we're all going through some things, and telling you what we're all going through for an hour or something is actually really important.
Look at this, guys. Honestly, if it's not worth just this comment, is it not worth just doing the show we did? Look at this comment. Your first episode on mental health helped me get through a particularly brutal anxiety attack I had a couple of weeks ago. Grazie mille, Luigi, Ange, and Claudio. Wow.
Thank you, Captain YOLO. What, folks? If you could also share with everyone about this podcast, because we're doing it bi-weekly on Wednesdays, but if you could share and tell them that we talk especially about men's health, and we talk about mental health. We like to hear from you as well, and just watching us gives us courage as well.
Yeah, we appreciate all the support from you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you, Tom. Tom is Thompson says great show. He's always there for us. And really, guys, I mean, that's the whole goal. I mean, besides talking about obviously men's lifestyles and cigars and scotch and beers and whatever it may be, is the men's clothing. A big thing of it, especially now, is the mental health aspect of it.
Yeah.
And because we I think why I think that first episode hit a chord is because we were particularly brutally honest in episode 1, and
Absolutely.
and I couldn't believe the honesty in episode 1 between the three of us. And because we all, I mean, imagine the three of us are feeling it, so we could just imagine exponentially what everyone else is feeling. So,
Absolutely. And I want to focus a little bit on what's happening here in La Belle Province, like some stuff don't make sense. Look, everybody could argue and say, oh, but you know what, it is what it is. I'm fine with that. But there's just, like, for example, the movie theater, right? Like, you want to open, but you don't want to serve popcorn or drinks. And then today, Mr. Guzzo, who is a great guy,
I saw him on the news.
He goes on the news and he gives that rant. And by the way, I think Mr. Guzzo wanted to give the F word, which he was on the news. So he had to be careful with what he had to say. I agree with that. But I'm agreeing with him. I'm agreeing. And
absolutely.
plus, Legault, listen, bro, you just gotta listen. You're gonna be voted out next year. I hope so, because you're destroying. You're destroying, but it's okay. Like Ange can go see his girlfriend. I can go bang a girl, but yet I could go to the swimming pool, right? That doesn't make sense. I mean, I could hang out with my friends, Dave.
Who would want to swim in a freaking pool of bacteria?
Exactly.
Apparently, chlorine is an antiseptic, guys.
Exactly. But yet again, especially Luigi, he knows everybody in the restaurant industry, and they're having a hard time. But it's okay if you go see a movie, but not buy any popcorn or drinks, right? By the way, FYI, Legault, not like you'll ever take the time to watch this, but whatever.
Listen, guys, honestly, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but it's been confirmed to me, and I think everyone knows this anyway, but it has been confirmed to me. And it's not a secret. It was live on my Agree to Disagree show. I had Filomena Rottirotti, which is a liberal M&A with liberal M&A. Yes. Basically, she says, Luigi, he does what he wants, and he doesn't explain anything to anybody. So, guys, this is what we're dealing. This is what we're dealing with, guys.
Exactly.
Did you notice? And I was talking to a friend of mine that owns Cafe Borgiorno. Shout out to Robert. Cafe Borgiorno on Jatalon, guys. Go visit him. Fantastic coffee, sandwiches, takeout, whatever you want.
Definitely. What a rush, bro.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, I lost my train of thought. Is basically, I lost my train of thought.
Legault, you were talking about Legault.
It just, guys. Bottom line is, he does what he wants to do, and there's nothing. Well, that's what I was going to say. That there's no mention. That's what we're talking about. There's no mention of curfew and restaurants and gyms. No, like they don't exist.
You didn't even whisper it.
Like nothing. No. Oh, by the way, we're looking at maybe, no mention of it, even though.
And no stats about outbreaks at gyms and restaurants. That's what I find really
everyone
weird.
knows. Everyone knows there was no outbreaks that came from restaurants or gyms. None. So, guys, my point is, we could talk about it till the cows come home, till we're blue in the face. But for whatever fucking
they should focus
reason,
on putting needles in arms. Getting people vaccinated is what they have to focus on.
They want to. No, but look, I don't want to sound like an idiot, but they want to keep people dumb. That's the important point here. Is that they want to keep hardworking people like all of us dumb. And you know what? I'm fed up with it. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. And there we go.
It is. And guys, listen, Captain Yolo, he's been such a great fan tonight. And he's totally right that I've been saying this. He's not going to be voted out, guys. The most recent polls on Quebec indicate he will only gain seats from all other parties. Guys, George Santritos, that was watching my show. He said a great quote on Friday when I had Philomena on, is that leaders in a time of crisis, no matter how good or bad, are always looked upon favorably because they have to deal with this crisis.
Yeah, exactly. Because
there's always going to be that people that say, "Oh, shut up! You can do a better job."
Exactly. He fucked it. He fucked it. He fucked it. He fucked us good, and we're the worst performing out of all the other provinces. Where
Mhm.
our prime minister fucked the inoculation and the vaccines, so we're fucked from the back and from the front. Okay,
By the
anally and
Yeah.
okay.
By the way, there was a thing. George Santlizos was saying it. Shout out to him on the morning show Pantelis, that Trudeau came out and because there's a genocide happening, right? But Trudeau didn't want to use the word genocide, and he
Listen,
goes,
Claudio.
"Well, isn't the I'm like, you fucking idiot! It's a genocide."
Okay.
Sorry, just mental health is getting. Sorry.
Yeah.
Claudio, listen, this is coming from the same person that in a town hall meeting said to somebody, we don't use that word by using mankind, it's people kind. So what the fuck do you expect from this drama teacher turned prime minister? That he's going to clearly not call a genocide. And which genocide are we referring to here?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, the Muslim minority in China.
Yeah.
I forgot what they're called. It's clearly a genocide. They're literally in concentration camps, but our prime minister refuses to call. Yeah, they are. So do your homework. I forgot the name of them. I apologize. It's a certain tribe. It's a very small minority of Chinese that are Muslim, and they're basically in concentration camps. They've built concentration camps, and they've been caught on NASA satellites, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And here you have our prime minister. So what the fuck do you expect? He can't even handle vaccines, guys. He can't even handle vaccines. He's going to admit that there's a clear genocide going on, and he's going to admit to it. Don't get me started. I'm going to be here till tomorrow morning.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's just sad, and again, with going back to what I was saying in the very first episode, obviously this is not helping us, and anxiety. I just want to leave on this. Like, anxiety is actually really powerful. I didn't realize how powerful anxiety was until when it comes crashing down on you to a point of where it makes you believe you have things you do not. And with all the lockdowns and with all the restrictions and the curfews, my hats go out to people who are suffering mentally, who are suffering physically, and it's just words can't describe it. Words can. I know, and that's why we have this podcast for. And one more thing, Captain Yolo was like, also Disney had an audacity to say that Gino Carano was disgusting while they fully collaborated with the Chinese regime for their lives. Yeah, exactly, exactly, Captain. And also Pedro Pascal said the same thing like Gina said, but yet Pascal didn't get fired because he's the main star of The Mandalorian. So
yeah, exactly, and someone has to be the sacrificial lamb, right? So one of them has to be the sacrificial lamb, and Captain Yolo again, another great. I mean, we'll probably gonna have to have him on the show, but
he seems like an interesting dude. We saw him on the speed dating, so
he was also on Joey LaFlamme's afternoon show.
The reason why PM Trudeau is still in a good position, but not enough to regain a majority in the House of Commons, according to 338 Canada. I agree with you, and I agree with 338 Canada. I don't know why he would call an election in the middle of a pandemic, because he's probably thinking that he could win a majority. I don't think he can, but you know what? If if George is right, which I tend to agree, is that leaders are looked upon, no matter how the handling or dishandling of whatever he's doing is going to be looked upon favorably. Maybe he does think that he has the chance to win a majority. I'm praying to God, but I don't see it happening, because the Conservatives are just a fucking mess. I don't see them pulling out if we go to the polls anytime soon, that the Conservatives will pull out even a minority win. But I don't know, guys. Our politics, the whole world's upside down. But I guess
there's only so much we can do, right?
Listen, I saw a kid seriously come in today at work with a Pornhub hoodie. Like, you know what I mean? Come on, dude. Like, it just goes to show you where we've reached society.
Yeah,
So.
exactly.
Well, the Pornhub. I think that's the probably a episode, future episode.
Like, you're getting checked out. You're in the emerge and you're in freaking Pornhub.
Jofo.
It's just sometimes, you know.
All right,
Yeah,
guys, we're gonna wrap it up for this.
Yeah,
for this
exactly.
Week.
Yeah. Shout out to Jofo Podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, of
So,
course. Always, every
Louis,
episode.
Louis, you want to do the closing or I do the closing?
I'll just you could do the closing. I'm just gonna say, guys, there will be a Agree to Disagree show tomorrow night. I'm gonna be flying solo tomorrow night because I have a lot of stuff to get off my chest. And I want to say thank you for everybody in the comments, who everybody's watching. Thank you so much, guys. And of course, a big thank you to our wonderful guest tonight, Tim Swanson. What a gentleman, what a cigar aficionado.
Yeah, there we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the bottom here, there are links to the Agree to Disagree show, the Ange TV show, and the Dirty Four podcast. Folks, just before I let you go, Dirty Four is going live twice, I believe, this Sunday at 2 p.m. Joey and Peter are going to be interviewing David Wise. He is a flat earther theorist.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Look forward to them, man.
And then I'm not going to be there because I'm going to be working. But at night, Dirty Four, episode 40, just us four, just, you know, as usual, shooting the shit. We're going to be back here in 2 Wednesdays. So, ladies and gentlemen, follow the links, subscribe to our YouTube pages, and especially to 3 Men in a Podcast, because entertainment is key. And folks, put a smile on, and look, we're gonna get out of this eventually. But for now, we all need to support each other and just be there for each other. And there we go. Good night to everybody in the chat. Good night to Mr. Swanson.
And you wanted to say a few last words in terms of what you're doing,
guys? I just want to thank Tim Swanson. I want to thank Luigi for getting him on. He also reached out to him. I want to thank Claudia. I want to thank everybody, Captain Yolo, Jofo that just came in raw. Thank you for showing up, guys. Just a quick plug. Tomorrow, I'm going live with a special guest, Pamela Pagano from Kind Time on Instagram. So come pass by and check it out. I would love to see you guys. Have a good night. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks, guys. It's bi-weekly here at 3 Men in a Podcast. So put it on your calendar, guys, okay? In 2 Wednesdays from now. And Luigi, what are we talking about in 2 weeks?
I'm working on some guests. It's going to be something interesting as well.
Good. And while Luigi's working on guests, I really want to talk upon toxic masculinity because it's very important. And again, ladies and gentlemen, good night. And see these guys tomorrow night and see me Sunday night on the Dirty Four.
Good night, everyone.
Take care, guys.
Thanks again.
Ciao. Ciao.